You're watching LMCC, your community TV.
Summertime, and most Minnesotans just want to get outside. They want to enjoy the lakes or farmers markets or baseball games or a garden. And so we want to show you another really fun option in our community. We're here today with John Gunyou. He's the board chair for the Three Rivers Parks District, and he's here to talk about the Dakota Trail. Hi John, thanks so much for joining us today. We're really glad you could make it. And we're here at the Dakota Trail, and I understand that this is a relatively new in the park system. Can you tell us about this trail?
It is. You know, it's actually the way we've developed a number of our trails because it's on an old rail bed. It's sort of a convoluted process the way we get there because the county rail authority, the Hennepin County Rail Authority, actually owns the land, and we lease it from them to develop and then maintain the trail.
Okay. So is there a lot of competition for this trail space? I know this used to be the Hutchinson Spur, and there used to be a train to every little town, have to be before the highways, but now we've got the highways, so there's a lot of abandoned track, but that's also a lot of space. Is there competition for that with light rail and passenger trains and freight trains and whatever else?
It's not really the issue with Southwest LRT,
okay,
because it's the rails are no longer used, and so that's why they're abandoned. So then the county then basically passes that on to us to develop the trails. They still own the rights to them. If there were ever to be a decision, they'd want to change that, but it's highly unlikely going into the future. That's why we've built the trails.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about this trail. What's going on out here?
Sure. You know, I think it's kind of an interesting trail because it really is a destination trail. It is so popular, people actually come here to use it.
Oh.
Now we have commuters and people that use it for that, but it's such a popular amenity that people actually go there. In fact, my wife Kim and I, a couple weeks ago, put our bikes on the back of the car and drove over to Excelsior and took it out to Mound, which is, that's probably about 12 miles. The whole trail runs actually about 26 miles.
Wow.
Well into Carver County.
Wow. So it's a beautiful trail. I know it's really well maintained and it is new. So how many people use this trail?
About over 400,000 people a year,
That's
if you
amazing.
can believe that.
Yeah.
System-wide, we have about 3/4 of our trail use are bikes, and then the remainder, you know, mostly walking. In fact, we just had a couple moms and a baby walk by
Sure.
with their stroller, which
Sure.
is pretty common. And here's a bicyclist going by.
Great. So it's handicapped accessible as well?
Absolutely.
Yep.
You bet.
And how about horses? Can horses use this trail?
We have, not this trail, but we do have equestrian trails throughout the system in several of our parks, and they're very popular also.
Mm-hmm. Bring your own horse, I guess.
You have to bring your own horse,
Bring
yeah.
your own horse. Okay.
I should say that we do have programs with stables, and so if
Oh.
people are interested, we run you know, how to learn to ride and things on our, we have a number of camps.
Oh.
Everything from golf to equestrian to swimming to history camps, pretty much
Really?
you name it.
So could I rent a horse? Or
Through private
got it.
vendors.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's exciting. Okay, I always learn so much when you come on the show. This is
You know, it's
great.
kind of interesting with the overpass here is a good example.
Right.
Many of our trails that have dangerous intersections, we do this, and we do that with a combination of federal, state, regional, local funding in order to put these overpasses in place, because not everyone is an experienced rider, and we try to make sure that everyone's safe.
Okay. Are there other places where you'll see more of these coming in?
You bet. Actually, we have one of our ones that'll happen next is just down the road and it's on actually the Lake Minnetonka LRT trail, which is the trail that runs along the southern part of the lake.
I'm familiar with that.
Dakota Rail runs along the northern
Right.
part of the lake, but
Right.
we're putting a bridge over Highway 19, which is over by Shorewood
Sure.
and Tonka Bay,
Sure.
just west of Excelsior, and that's also a pretty busy road.
Yeah.
And that'll be the construction will start this fall,
Okay.
and then it'll be completed next spring.
Okay. So will that tie up traffic, or is it something, I don't know how they manage that kind of thing so that...
No, actually, it's kind of interesting. We have a detour in place now for the
Oh,
trail, so
okay.
people can use it. But the traffic itself will only be inconvenienced a very short time, a matter of a day or two, because we're using a process where we drop the bridge in place.
Seriously?
So this
Wow.
fall we'll be building the foundation, and then a crane will actually put the bridge over onto the foundations next spring.
I want to be there for that.
Yeah,
I want
it'll
to see
be a
that.
fun time.
Yeah, okay, that'll be fun.
You know, Beverly, I was going to mention one of the things on the Dakota Rail too is it does get a lot of traffic, and we're resurfacing it now because it is a paved trail.
Okay.
The Lake Minnetonka LRT trail is an aggregate trail, so we
Okay.
try to have a mix throughout the system. And we're going to be doing that in July and August. So we will post little signs along the trail so people will know which sections are closed, and we're doing it in 4 phases so that different parts will be closed. But one good thing is that every weekend it'll be open. So by Friday at noon, then it'll be open to use, and we'll just be doing the resurfacing during the week.
Okay. So most bikers won't even know the difference if they just come on weekends.
That's right.
And then during the week there'll be notices. This will be on your website, I imagine?
You bet, you bet. In fact, I'd always encourage people to look at our website for everything, whether it's
Sure.
the camps or whether it's the trails, to make sure. Especially we've had to make a few adjustments with the flooding.
Right, right. Has
So
that affected the parks very much?
it has. Mostly some of the trails we've had to temporarily close. We've had to make some adjustments. Some of the beaches, we're having
Sure,
some of those
flooded out.
issues.
Right.
We have a lot of beaches, but we also have some swim ponds.
Right,
In
right.
fact, that's one of the most popular things out here, which is at the Lake Minnetonka Regional Park, which is at the west end of the
Right.
park in Minnetonka. We have a very popular swim pond, which is a sand bottom, but it's open. I mean, it's not like your traditional pool, and but it's chlorinated.
Oh, nice.
So it's safer in that regard.
Right.
But I should say that all of our beaches we do test regularly.
Sure,
There was
sure.
some concern with the flooding, whether that
Right.
affected, and we were not affected by that. We test on a regular basis.
Well, that's great. So we've talked about the construction issues out here. We've talked about the fact that it's a great destination. What do you see as the future of the bike system? Because I know that you've got all kinds of trails and they don't all follow the rail lines. So where do you see yourself going?
Really good question, because one of our challenges are connections, north-south connections. We have a lot of east-west connections because that's the way the rails ran. Is both the Lake Minnetonka and the Dakota Rail were east-west because of that. One of our challenges is to allow people to make loops rather than just to ride out and back. So one of the things we're working on that's longer term is in Minnetonka also, is to connect those trails and the loose line trail, which is farther north, which is actually a state trail that we tie into.
Sure.
We're doing it in a variety of ways. There's no rail lines that run north-south like that. So we're acquiring property when we can. We're cutting deals with developers. A couple of really kind of interesting examples is we bought what used to be Camp Kingswood, was a Methodist church camp out on Little Long Lake, pristine lake, one of the cleanest in the metro area, and it's a wonderful property with all sorts of natural resource features and all that, about 100 acres. But it also is long, and so it will allow us then to one of the connections between these trails, at least a portion of that. Developers, as they develop projects in the area, they often have to, the cities will require them to dedicate land or contribute to a park fund. Well, working with Minnetonka, what they're doing is requiring one of the developments to put in a trail.
Oh, excellent.
But with the right-of-way, dedicate the right-of-way, we are adding extra money into the project to make it a regional trail. And regional trails are wider than typically local city trails.
Higher standards, perhaps?
Higher standards, yeah. The bedding on them, all that. It's sort of the interstate equivalent to the county or local street equivalent, and that's also brings up another kind of good issue. Brings up another issue I want to mention is we do a lot of these in partnership. So it's important to not just have the trail run through, but we want to make sure there are connections, and so we work with local officials to make sure that those people can get to the trail and get off the trail when they want to.
Okay. Wow, that's so interesting. So it's a huge cooperative effort that most people don't even think about when they're out here on the trails enjoying a beautiful day.
They're just riding on the trail.
They're just riding
not
on
sure who. We put our little kiosks and
Right.
wayfinding signs to
Right,
try to make
signs.
sure that people know where to go, and who is doing the trail for them.
Right.
Actually, it's their tax dollars, a lot
Absolutely.
of these, so
Absolutely.
so it's important.
But it's well spent, and people really do enjoy it. And in Minnesota, you just have to have something like this. You have to have an excuse to get outside. You really do.
We have, just as an example, we have about 4 million people use our trails every year,
wonderful.
and we're just Hennepin County,
Right.
and extended, kind of in the surrounding counties. About half of the regional trails in the metro area are Three Rivers
Wow.
trails, just because we've been so aggressive in developing them. We have a lot of things going on. I really encourage people to check our website, threeriversparks.org, because it has all the up-to-date information, you can register. It's very easy to use all of these wonderful facilities.
So thank you so much for joining us today, John.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And now we're going to take a little time to get out and about here in St. Bonnie. If you want to make this a destination, what can you do when you're out here? We're here at the St. Bonnie Bistro, which has a great made-to-scratch menu, and they've got fabulous breakfast. So when I bring my bike in, this is what I do. I'll start here and have a cup of coffee or grab a breakfast, and then I'm off on the trails. It's a lot of fun. So if you want to turn your excursion into a picnic, stop by McIntoon's Meat and Deli and pick up some of their chicken salad. It's the best in the world. And you might also want to get some dog bones for when you get home. Our final stop is Spokes Bike Shop and Ice Cream. So if you have any problems when you're out on the trail, they like to fix your bike while you wait, and then you can enjoy a nice treat. So that's it for us tonight on The Pulse. We're so glad you joined us, and wherever you go, whatever you do, we hope you have a just dandy July.